Welcome, everybody, to this week's Distressed Property Call. This podcast and broadcast is brought to you by HomeLoanAdvocates. That's right, my partner David Bartels at HomeLoanAdvocate. They specialized in distressed property solutions for buyers, sellers, investors, and realtors across the country. Doesn't matter where you are, doesn't matter the situation you're in. If you're working on a distressed property and you need some assistance, call 805-413-8000. Again, that number is 805-413-8000. Ask for David Bartels or visit HomeLoanAdvocates.com. Or if you'd like, send David an email at david@HomeLoanAdvocates.com. This episode is also brought to you by Monster Marketing. That's right. That's the reason this call started and why we do it each and every week. Monster Marketing. It is a direct marketing method that I created to get face-to-face with people that have missed payments. It's literally 3% of the market, some more in other areas, but Monster Marketing guarantees face-to-face results with these people. We will give you proven step-by-step coaching, training, and mentoring so that you can convert those individuals into listings or deals, depending on being a realtor or investor. If you would like to find out more, go visit Honish.com. That's HONISH.com.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to your distressed property. My name is LeeHonish. I am a professional marketer. My job is to get people more of what they want. All you got to do is go to Honish.com or feel free to text me at 858-663-2537. Yep, that's my real cell phone. Text me. People who leave messages like a big time rap star or something, I would just figure out how to send everybody to a message, but apparently I can't do that. So just text me and tell me what you want, and I will.
Lee, you're having some audio challenges there.
Are we better?
Well, I can hear you now.
Well, all right.
You're coming in and
out. It says I got a full boat. With all of that said, I am joined by David Bartels, the last of the Mohicans, the voted number one by a group of his peer set as the greatest loss mitigation individual on the face of the planet. David, how are you today?
I'm doing really well. I missed our weekly get-togethers while you were taking a physical health break.
Yeah, I guess that's
even know what to tell everybody.
Oh my God. I didn't know what to tell everybody, for God's sakes. How do you I've never been, for those of you who don't know, we've been off for the last couple of weeks. The first week was kind of an error on my part. The second week, I was in the hospital for reasons that only the group who's on the live call will actually understand. But the reality is, okay, we're back. And David, first and foremost, let's talk about both of your businesses because you got a lot going on. First, let's talk about loss mitigation because today is the day we need to talk about that.
Yeah, so for a lot of people, the game is up. You know, they have been in a forbearance, they've missed 3 payments now, and all of a sudden their 4th payment is due. And not only is it due for a lot of people, but it's due with the 3 payments that they missed. And that is going to make what's going to happen interesting. So for those of you that don't know, there are 3 types of forbearance, 2 primarily. One is the forbearance where you get 3 months, and 3 to 12 months. If you're a Fannie Freddie, you could get as much as 12 months. And they just put those payments on the back of the loan, basically extend your term, and you just keep going like nothing happened. You got a 3 to 12 month payment holiday. Different levels of qualification, but you can just breathe into a mirror and get 3 months, it looks like. The second part of that is the people where you got 3 months because the federal government said to mortgage companies you have to give them 3 months. And they said, okay, no problem, but they didn't put those payments on the back of the loan. And this month, 4 payments are due. So if they were in fact out of work and they weren't collecting unemployment and they didn't have an ability to pay it, then they're going to be facing foreclosure in about 30 days. If they don't have the, in other words, if they don't have the money to make up their back payments and they can't convince their lender to put it on the back of the loan, this is the month of reckoning, and we'll start seeing the first wave of foreclosures going out August, maybe September, and that will amount to a lot. So even if it's just 1 or 2% of the public, when you go out and look at those numbers, that's hundreds of thousands of houses that are in foreclosure. And those people and agents that are focused on opportunities in the foreclosure space have a big opportunity themselves to not only help people, but to generate some new transactions for themselves.
And while we're on the topic, how can people get a hold of Home Loan Advocates?
Well, I'm happy to have a chat with anybody, 805-413-8000, 805-413-8000. My email is david@HomeLoanAdvocates.com. We have seen an influx in the number of new transactions that are coming in, but those seem to be a little older still. And we'll see another wave as the foreclosure moratorium is lifting right now as well. Eviction moratorium is still in place in LA County, at least until July 31st, and who knows what's going to happen after that.
With that said, you're also working on an innovative design to compete with all other brokerages, and I cannot smooch your rear end any harder than that, but why don't you tell people about it?
Well, for a long time, you guys have known that I've been part of the Help You Sell franchise. We're the top gross commission income office in the country. And we have decided, after a failed bid to acquire Help You Sell Corporate, we have decided to go it alone. And so we have created a new company called Everhome. We're just waiting for our licensing to be approved. And we are going to be taking the Everhome concept public and providing massive differentiation, not only at the product offering level, but at the agent offering level in terms of the way that we pay people, the way that we do our business, the way that we partner with our agents is going to be dramatically different. And it's what we think the future of real estate is going to look like. And we're taking that concept public. In October, it looks like we'll be a public company and begin our national expansion at that point. So the name of that company is Everhome, if you want to talk about what we're doing there, and we'll be touching on some of those things here and there throughout this call and future ones. You can reach me for that at David at, I guess I should use David at helpyousellfullservice.com. David at I got too many companies. David at helpyousellfullservice.com, or you can call me at 805-379-3300.
Well, let's start right there. Okay, let's catch everybody back up to where we are. This all started back in, gosh, I want to say October, when I was obsessed.
Last summer. Mm-hmm.
I think it's about October, right? That's about when I came.
Yeah.
September, October. I was obsessed with EXP. And for those of you who don't know about my obsession with EXP, and if you are XP, God bless you. Okay. I have never met a multi-level marketing company outside of what's the one that does the vitamins? I'm trying not to get brand infringement.
Herbalife.
Outside of Herbalife, I don't know of an MLM.
Lost you again.
Am I here?
There
Is that better? All right. Outside of Herbalife, do you know of any MLM that has been able to maintain an MLM status year over year over year over year?
Maybe Amway.
Maybe, but are they really around?
I don't know.
I
I
don't
think
know
so.
either. And the reason I
I,
bring that up is I know that a lot of the people that we coach and a lot of the people that we work with are very obsessed. They seem to love the EXP concept of signing up your own brokerage underneath you, which in concept is a great idea. This is a valuable opportunity to explain your company at this moment, David. But the reason I bring that up is the people at the very top of EXP who I met over December have no, I don't even know what the word is. I think they only care about the number of people that get signed up, not the number of properties that they sell. How are you going to differ from that model?
well, our focus is on how you get paid. So we don't get paid to recruit, though recruiting is, because we have to hire hundreds of people. Recruiting is obviously going to be an important part of what we do, but we're looking at our recruiting as for employees. So everyone comes and they're part of the team, and there are stock options, just like you would expect to see in a new, high rising organization. And that's really the big difference. We're going to have corporate owned stores. We're going to have salaries plus commissions. We're going to have, big support teams in order to help salespeople be more productive. Our agents are going to, instead of the typical agent doing 5-6 transactions a year, our agents are going to, well, they're already doing it. Our agents are doing 3 a month, 36 a year. And they're going to have and they're not going to have to, they're not in business for themselves. Their job is not to sign up with a company, make a big investment, and basically become a sub business of the bigger business, and then figure out how to attract clients and do transactions without upsetting the mothership in the way that they do that. What we're doing is completely different, is that we're hiring salespeople that want to focus on the sales aspect of it. They want to be part of a team. They want to, but they want to focus on the transactional business. They want appointments set for them. They want leads generated for them. They want support with the transaction side. They want the technology provided for them. They want their expenses of doing business reimbursed for them. Those kinds of things are what people are looking for, and those are the kinds of things that we're providing. So we're providing a lot of value to our internal customers, which is our employees, and then massive benefits to the paying clients, which are the buyers and sellers who'll do transactions with us.
Which I think is really important. And again, if you're on this call or listening to it, I have met with literally the top 5 people within EXP. And I get that everybody's obsessed with them. I get it. And they're a public offering. And it's kind of it's a model that looks really great on paper. I'm just telling you, as a guy who educates and does marketing, their focus is on how many bodies can we put into the role, because that increases the stock option.
Lost you again.
Did you? Good God.
Yeah,
Why does
but
that
you're
happen?
back.
All right.
No, Lee.
Hi there.
I
Am I
heard
back?
there. That
All right.
is it. Yes.
All right. I'll try not to move. You have insider knowledge. Like, people who are on a regular call already understand that you have some insider knowledge. Why did you make the company public?
Well, because we thought it was the fastest way to raise a pile of money and return value to our partners. So, I mean, at the end of the day, when you look at the different ways of doing this, I don't have tens of millions for all the success that I've enjoyed. I don't have tens of millions of dollars to be able to do that. Plus, I want we're going to need a really massive team, and we want all those people to be stakeholders in the company. And going public seems to be the fastest way. If you do the venture route, you're raising capital and diluting the stock each time, and it really takes years to get to the place of expansion that you're wanting to go to. And in this case, what we're able to do is raise that money in a relatively short period of time, 6 months or so, and then let the valuation grow and let shareholders, make their stock holdings liquid so that they can trade in and out of those stocks as they, deem fit based on what their needs are at that particular moment, waiting for a liquidity event to take place. So it just seemed like the best place to tell the story, to raise the funds, and to achieve our national aspirations.
No, I completely agree with you. And I think that's the thing I'm trying to bring up, because quote unquote in real estate right now, the idea is EXP, right? Like they're the hot hand, and it's a public company, and you get stock options. And I'm telling you that it's based on a lot of real estate agents who are not doing a lot of real estate, based on my personal experience. And I don't want to break it to anybody, and it'll probably get me a cease and desist, but the top 5 people in that company know less about real estate than the people we actually have on this call. And I'm not trying to crap on them. Their focus is on getting bodies because it increases the stock option, right? The more bodies they get, the greater the stock option becomes. And again, it's an MLM. I just don't know of any MLM that is functional. With all of that said, today is July 1st, and today is the day of reckoning. Hassan Minhaj, for those of you who don't know the name, feel free to watch HBO or go to YouTube. Hassan Minhaj actually did a piece this past weekend. Not only homeowners who took the 90-day forbearance, which, for those of you who think I'm completely out of touch, my daughter's mother, their first forbearance was a 90-day forbearance, which officially comes due today. That's not the big problem. The big problem is approximately 2 million other renters who officially throughout the states become due today, David. We're literally looking at, as of today, millions and millions of people who are technically homeless.
Or on the verge of it.
Or on the verge, technically. I mean, look, let's forego the forbearance discussion. Let's forego all the discussions. For those of you who don't know, I started off doing evictions. That's how I started in '88, working for Beneficial. So you do have to go through a process. But as of July 1st, it is not stopping the process. And Hassan Minhaj made a great point about this, even with homeowners. It is not stopping them from doing the filing. It's stopping them from the actual legal procedure of evicting renters and evicting homeowners. So I think that's the big deal here. The number of people that, as of today, have gone into a delinquency manner unless they can pay 3 straight months is almost catastrophic. Reaction?
Well, you broke up a little bit there, but no, I think that what's going to happen is that you're going to have a situation where people are really going to panic, and it would have been better to make people deal with it than just lead them to believe through the PR engine that they're going to get a payment holiday and then pick up where they left off and no big deal. And that's true for some people, but for a very high percentage of people, it's absolutely not true, and they're going to get jammed up pretty good here.
What I think is most interesting about the market is there are 3 different groups, right? There's the escrow side, there's the mortgage side, and then there's the real estate side. That is our business. It's a kind of trilogy of events that occurs. So on the mortgage side, they're still feasting on refinancing The escrow side is still happy because they're getting the refinance side, but the real estate side, which I don't care where you want to estimate it, it's approximately 2 million people who do real estate. I don't care what class they're in, but they're the ones suffering in all of this. What I'm finding interesting is there is really because I had last week off and I had nothing better to do than look at what was going on with what was being coached or what was being professed by real estate coaches or people that do approximately what we do. There is really no real answer for 80% of the agents who make their living doing one transaction a day. And it's almost like, well, we'll just wait and see. Everything will be fine. Everything will be fine. Everything will be fine. Well, we're here and things have technically gotten worse. As of yesterday, for those of you who don't know, Dr. Fauci, whether or not you want to believe him, is now saying, because of our lack of non-social distancing, is saying that you should expect about 100,000 people being diagnosed on a daily basis. You should expect double the number of people that are impacted and hospitalized, because we're not going to stop. We cannot physically stop our economy, David. We've tried it for a couple of months. We tried to fix it with a Band-Aid by giving people money. The reality is the coronavirus is going to have a massive, massive impact on the way we do day-to-day business. And I think the biggest economy that is being missed in all this is the real estate industry. I mean, day-to-day realtors, people who pay for the big R behind their name. And if you are an agent, especially on this call or otherwise, the reality that I cannot get my brain wrapped around, and I want to hear your reaction to this, is it's a serious thing. Like, we're now moving to a world where everything is done online. Everything is done via Zoom or Snapchat or whatever the hell you want to use, or to a digital medium where you're advertising on Facebook or Instagram and creating stories about yourself and creating your own digital footprint. And most agents are not doing that. It's just not occurring. They're just waiting out the storm. I've had this talk with a couple of people within real estate, and their final answer is it's thinning out the herd, right? Much like anything else, this will just show the good agents from the bad agents. I don't think that's the case here. I really think that real estate in the long term, starting today, is going to have a massive impact. I'd like to hear your feedback.
Well, I think for sure, real estate is going to have a massive impact. First of all, I think real estate right now is really carrying the overall economy. And I think that if the truth is, I've been sending emails to my database explaining and showing them the data and why it's the hottest sellers market I can remember seeing. And it's not because that there's a lot of houses being sold. The number of transactions year over year is way down, but they're way up, last month to this month. It's because there's still such a limited amount of inventory, and there feels what almost normal buyer demand is out there right now, but seller listings are really low, and that's creating multiple offer situation. And I'm seeing stuff that 5-6 month old listings now all of a sudden are getting showings and offers without changing a price, without doing anything special to the house. They're going from nobody wants to see a house to there's a line outside to see the house with offers. It's pretty remarkable. And so I think that you're going to see the Fed is going to continue to stimulate housing, because it's really one of the easiest things that they can in fact control, and it's going to deliver much needed tax dollars to state and local governments.
Yeah, and I want to quantify that for everybody, just in case this is your first time listening. David is the top agent in the Conejo Valley. You just won again, did you not?
Yeah, for Ventura County,
Yeah, there
second
you go.
year in a row,
Second
top
year in a
sales
row.
team. Yeah.
And
Mhm.
which kind of leads into Victoria Conway. By the way, she's down here in northern San Diego with me. Look up Victoria Conway. She will be happy to help you with a real estate transaction if you are in the area or you need to refer. David, do you see a demand in sales over $1 million? And I want to say this because I've been tracking this. It's not $1
Well,
million. It's not the $1 million house that I'm worried about. It's when you get to the number $2 million, which has taken the investors out of the market, David.
yeah, no, I mean, the softness that you see in the market is, well, in my market, you see it over $1 million. So once you get to be about 30 or 40% above the median home price, you're seeing a lot of softness in every market. So in some markets that might be 600,000, and a market where the median home price is 600,000, we're seeing real softness above $1 million. And that's where you're seeing the inventory accumulation. So we're not seeing inventory accumulation in those houses that are hovering around the median home price, and especially under median home price. But you're seeing, because the buyers are absorbing everything, but in the median, but when you start getting up 30, 40% above median, you're seeing inventory accumulate. You're seeing buyers that are not showing the confidence they need to buy those, because they want to see what's happening. And you're seeing sellers that are in a demographic where they don't really need to sell the house, so they're holding on to them a little longer. They're being more stingy with price discounts that they should be doing to stimulate activity on those houses, thinking that if they don't sell it, they'll just rent it or stay there another year or two and kind of wait for the market to come to them, whereby the rest of the market is being a little more aggressive if they're not getting the kind of traffic that they need to get that house sold based on their price.
Well, and I think that comes back to the trilogy, right? I have had talks with all the different escrow companies, and they've seen a definite decline in transactions. Real estate side, based on what I've seen, certainly as a coach, but as certainly somebody who's watched the market. And if you don't want to believe me, feel free to go look at NAR's actual figures. We go back to the mortgage side. This is a feast or famine business within the mortgage side. I have been trying to move an $8 million 22 unit property, and nobody wants to lend on $8 million. Nobody wants to get involved. There seems to be this very weird thing happening within the market where anything above $2 million, based on what the market's doing, is a huge risk, because you've got an election coming up, you've got coronavirus coming up, you've got Seattle becoming its own country, I guess. I don't know. There is a lot of instability within the market, and the lending side of everything has sort of taken a back seat. Unless you're willing to invest, 20% or greater into the investment of the property on the mortgage side, most mortgage people are not doing what they were doing, say, 6 to 12 months ago.
Well, the mortgage people that I'm talking to are doing a lot of refinances. I mean, even I'm refinancing my house right now at what I think is an insane 2.375%. I mean, I'm like blown away that we're refinancing, and we moved into our house in May of last year and we thought 3 3/4 was a great rate. And I never imagined that we'd be able to get a rate at 2 3/8. So that's what a lot of people are doing, and they're hustling, and they're doing all kinds of transactions, and purchase transactions are also improving. The mortgage guys are really killing it. They're having their best year maybe
ever.
Well, as long as I know. Yeah.
No, and I agree with you. And again, we're looking at what happened prior to 2007. Everybody is looking at the short side instead of the long game. In the mortgage industry, oh, we're making all this money on this refinance money. It's fantastic. In fact, I've had multiple people call me, much like in your situation, going, should I refinance? My answer is yes. And then the minute you refinance, take a year's worth of forbearance, take a year off. You're going to live there indefinitely, or at least longer than the 5-year stance that a forbearance would stay on your credit. Why wouldn't you? I mean, it's almost illogical not to take advantage of what the market's doing. But I think that's the short-term look at what the market's doing. And again, getting lost in the entire shuffle. And I'll say this for everybody on the call. You guys are getting lost in the shuffle. The actual realtor trying to find a buyer or a seller in this weird little trilogy of things that we do is getting lost in the shuffle. But moving forward from that, if you guys want to quantify anything I'm saying, and David and I talked about this last week, Realty Track has popped back on the market officially this week, announcing Aaron Norris as their new mouthpiece. And his first interview was with Peter OToole, who is the executive director of Property Radar. Thank you, Tina. Property Radar. I got it wrong. It's not Realty Track. It's Property Radar. They came back on the market, and they actually went out, and now they're back on the market. Hey, we're that there is any coincidence that they waited 1 week before July 1st, before they dropped their first public offering since the departure of the previous mouthpiece?
Yeah, well, I think that I think that they're anticipating a big demand for their data and are going to try to crank up their promotion engine again to sell subscriptions more than anything. I mean, they're probably ready for a little fundraising too, but I think the big thing is that they're looking at the same news we're looking at. They're getting a sense of the same conditions that we're experiencing, and they're thinking, okay, foreclosures are coming. I mean, listen, they started out as foreclosure radar, right? And then when foreclosure started to go away, they switched it to property radar, and that hasn't been as successful than foreclosure radar. And because they market it towards people who are looking for foreclosure data, and I think you're going to see a push for that again.
Forgive me. Did I say Peter OToole, or it's Sean OToole? Peter OToole is an actor, I think.
That's who I know.
It's Sean OToole. But with that said, you guys really have to be aware of the market and what's happening. And the one thing that I've seen, especially with the people that I work with doing marketing, is going the other direction, right? So if you've got millions of people looking for housing that are no longer renters, they're going to be looking for housing. And a few of my very industrious people that I do marketing for have figured out, hey, it's better to get them an FHA loan. It's easier to qualify. I don't think people get this. It's easier to qualify for an FHA loan than it is to qualify to rent a property right now. Like, that's the hot hand at this moment.
Well, I think that you're going to see. I think that you're going to see a lot of activity. I think first-time home buyers are really confused about what to do. I think a lot of people are confused about why to do, which is why I think that it's really important for you to be educating your base. It's one of the reasons why at least once a month I compile data and I send it to, like yesterday, I sent it to all my sellers in Simi Valley. I put together the last 30 days activity. I send out a little report, and I get a handful of emails and phone calls back, and we get to have a conversation about listing their house. And today I'm going on a listing presentation in response to an email that said, "Do you want to list my house?" And that was his response to my email saying, "This is what's going on in the market. I got an email response. Would you like to list my house? I said, yes. When? They said now. And I said, house tomorrow at 3. They said, see you then. It was that easy. Now, it took me about 20 minutes to pull the data and write the email, but it's really important that you guys be on top of the data, know your numbers, be able to have a conversation about it and tell people what it means, whether or not they're a first-time home buyer or somebody who's looking to downsize or upside or relocate. You've got to be able to speak with some confidence and assure them that now is the right time to act. So I'm not surprised that there's a lot of first-time home buyers in there, because the low interest rates make housing more affordable. Now, there's a perception that prices have come down and interest rates have come down, but prices have not come down. They're inching up, actually. But interest rates still make it more affordable to buy a slightly more expensive house. So affordability has been a major issue in California, and the interest rates really stimulate that and bring people who couldn't afford to buy an entry-level house out into the marketplace, where all of a sudden they can now.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And I can't stress this enough, and we probably beat the drum on this topic. This is why you need a list. This is why you follow up with a list. This is why you need to bring in a list. This is why you've got to go out, whether or not you like it. Renters are going to be hitting the market, and they need to be educated on this topic, and going out and plumbing that and showing them. I don't want to break it to anybody. I know this because I live at the beach, and it's almost impossible to live by the beach. I'm a renter. I've always been a renter. But to be a renter at the beach, it means you need tier 1, tier 2, FICO scores. What makes FHA a little more reasonable for people is the fact that, yeah, if I don't want to live at the beach and I want to live, 2 or 3 cities back, yes, I can lower my payments. I won't be at the beach, but at least I'm owning a home. And again, you've really got to catch up on these VA, FHA, and all of these public loans, because that's really what's out there from a lending standpoint. I mean, if you really think you're going to go out there and land yourself $1 million or $2 million or $3 million listings, you're really starting to limit the number of buyers that are going to want to look at that property. I'm not saying for those that are in like Orange County or in New York.
Lost you.
Am I gone? Am I back?
You're back.
All right. My point to all this is, I think we need to start looking at this like 2007 again. Let's start looking at the lower end instead of the upper end. If you were coaching your people, David, your new real estate agents, which is going to be a good segue in a minute, would you have them looking at the upper end or at the lower end of the spectrum?
Well, I can tell you that I am way more excited about getting a $600,000 listing than I am a $1 million listing. Anybody want to know why?
Why,
Because
David?
the likelihood of me selling it fast and getting paid are much higher when I have a median price home versus a above median price home. It's going to take more time, money, and effort. And from my perspective, I like hitting the meter. I just want to do transactions, and they come. So if I were going to target one segment, I'm going to focus on the wheelhouse, the homes around the median home price. For me, that's where now I like having. That's not to say I don't like having the $1 million listings, and we have them all the time, and or higher even. But those are, for me, those are like bonus deals. Those are deals that you get paid on down the road.
Yeah.
So just my thoughts.
I completely agree. And to Victoria's comment again, because she's in San Diego like me, prices have not come down either.
Yeah. So no, we're not seeing any evidence of prices coming down, and anywhere year over year for sure. Now we just ended the month. I'll be doing my monthly data poll and communicating what's happening in the market in the next few days via video to the database. But I think that we're going to see that prices inched up and days on market came down. The days on market, to go back to the other question, the days on market for a house over $1 million versus one, it's 500,000 or 600,000 is probably double. It's probably 50 or 60 days for a median price house in most markets, and it's over 100 days for the over $1 million houses. And the higher you go, the higher the average days on market. Lost you.
I don't know why it cuts in and out. Am I better?
You're back.
To Victoria's question, which is prices haven't come down in San Diego as well as with you out in the valley. There's a huge difference between living in Oxnard and living in North Hollywood. There's a difference, to answer Victoria's comment, of living in Oceanside, Carlsbad, La Jolla as compared to living in La Jolla. And I'm sure that's the same across the country. And I don't want to be the one who's giving you guys the history of real estate, but that's what happened in 2007. When people couldn't afford to live within their metro, they went to Lancaster. They went out to Victorville. They kept going out to Riverside. Shout out to Tina Hamilton. If you need help, call Tina Hamilton. So based on the prices, I think we become too self-obsessed with the localized market instead of, David, you're a real estate agent in all of California. Is that going to stop you anywhere in the Ventura County?
No. Well, you should know me by nothing is going to stop me.
I think you take a deal. I think you take a deal in San Francisco without referring it. That's what I believe. I joke.
Well, no, I would co-broke it with somebody. I'm doing co-brokes all over the state right now. It works fine.
I say this to everybody. Your license is for your entire state. Your job as
Lost you.
Your job.
You're breaking up, brother. Still. Lee? You're not back.
I'm going to do something I really don't want to do.
There you are.
All right. I'm not going to move anything. So we're perfect. According to my microphone, I'm working. All right.
Well, you are now. I think you're gone again.
There you go. Is that better?
Well, we can hear you, but it's not better.
I know it's not better. With that said, David,
you're in a tunnel.
I am in a tunnel. I'm using the one on my actual computer. But for whatever reason, it's not better, says Victoria. Maybe it was just you, David. But since we're towards the end of the call, I think people are forgetting the code of ethics of being a realtor. And I don't know why I'm the guy who keeps bringing this up. Your job is to advise your client, this is the best you're going to get. This is the best you can afford. But I just truly feel this. Everybody wants a grand slam, and not everything is a grand slam on a purchase.
Listen, one of the reasons there's so many real estate agents is that there's a perception that it's a much easier profession than it is. And the fact of the matter is, it's a very difficult, very competitive business. It is not for everybody. And people think that when they get a real estate license, that people are going to flock to them to do transactions. And the reality is that you got to really hunt. You've got to hunt for your transactions. You got to hold them together. You're basically in business for yourself. And there's a great deal of risk that comes with the reward, and the more you risk, the greater the reward. And a lot of people just don't have the stamina, financial stamina or emotional stamina, to be able to do that. So they end up not doing that well. And that's really what we're trying to do with Everhome, is really create an environment. We might as well sell copy machines around here. We're just creating a professional sales organization with salespeople who happen to be real estate licensed, and allowing to do the fun, part of the transaction. And that's doing deals, not the marketing, not the transaction coordination, not the constant lead nurturing of old leads that might do a transaction, not trying to figure out what should go on social media today, not trying to figure out what emails do I need to do to stimulate my, to generate new leads today. None of that. We just focus on the good things and get the stability of a salary plus commission. So and the upside potential to do something even cooler because of, the national opportunity that creates for all of us.
David, why don't you tell people, since we're at the end of the call, about Everhome one more time?
Well, if you want to have a conversation about Everhome, just call me, 805-379-3300, 805-379-3300. Today, we're still Help You Sell Full Service Realty, but that'll change as soon as the state of California allows us, which that application is pending. So my email is david@helpyousellfullservice.com.
And if somebody's working with a forbearance or distressed property, where can they call?
Home Loan Advocates, 805-413-8000, 805-413-8000, david@homeloanadvocates.com. And obviously, either one of those contacts will get to me regardless of the topic.
And with all of that said, if you're looking for more leads of more of whatever business, or you have somebody who's in business who needs more of whatever it is that they're doing, all you got to do is text me at 858-663-2537, or go to honish.com, HONISH.com, fill out the form. I will be happy to help you, because there are a lot of people that are going to be looking for a lot of housing very, 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 I don't see any way around it, David, very soon. There's going to be people in a bunch of different situations, and I don't think it's a coincidence that Property Radar came back online. I suspect Realty Check won't be far behind it. But go out there, and by the way, Aaron Norris and Sean OToole did an amazing job of discussing the market. Please go out and listen to the market data yourself. Again, check out David, check out me. Our information is in the links.